Hello students, this is Sonali and today we will continue with our chapter Tourism and History. In the earlier lecture we have seen tourism in the past. We have also seen the images. Then we have seen the types of tourism, and today we are going to begin with local and interstate tourism. Children, as the title itself is very clear, this is about the local tourism, and or you can call it as interstate, within the same state, interstate tourism. Now this kind of tourism is not very overwhelming because it is it is within one's own country. It does not cause difficulties of languages, uh, procuring currency and documents. More so, we can plan it at the time suitable to us. So children, as it is local tourism, or it is within the same state or within the same country, so this tourism is not much complicated or does not require much you can say procedures of documentation and paperwork and all that stuff. But it also hasn't got the difficulties of languages, because only the accent somewhat differs, but generally we see that the language used in one state is quite similar. So when you travel in one state or even in throughout the nation, we can see that our national language is Hindi. Also English is more popularly spoken. So we can it becomes very easy for the people traveling to communicate in the language. So language is not the barrier. Also we do not need to transfer the currencies, because throughout the country the currency is same. So there is no procuring of currency, and documentation is also not needed, just the tickets and the ID proofs, that's it. So it does not involve much of paperwork or much of things to be planned so very earlier that you need to do the documentation and procuring the currency, or learning the language, or at least can say have some weather climatic conditions or beforehand to plan also. So it doesn't require much of the things for planning, and so this can be planned at the time available to us or suitable to us. So because the climatic conditions, the weather conditions are also almost similar throughout the country with small or less difference. So also the festive time, or the vacation time, so everything is quite common in the same country or same state. So there is not much of a planning. We can plan these trips, we can, or rather these trips can be planned on a short notice as well, and it does not require a long planning or a specific time period as well for the for traveling. Next is the international tourism. Children, as the title indicates, international is from one nation, one country to another, so that is international tourism. So nowadays it has become easier to travel because of the easy availability of the number of options of railway, marine and air transport. Marine transport has linked the coastal regions. There is a trans-European railway route. Aviation has brought the entire world closer. Because of the economic liberalization policy of the Indian government, the number of people traveling back and forth from India has increased considerably. They include people traveling for studies, relaxation, sightseeing, and professional assignments like meetings and agreements, etc. Also for shooting of films, etc. One needs to procure various official documents for traveling abroad. So now, since this is traveling from one country to another, so we can see that there are quite differences in the, can say, languages, in the procedures or the documentation required. It is quite different in the culture, quite different in the climatic conditions, depending upon which country we are traveling to. So there are a lot of differences as far as traveling is concerned or tourism is concerned from one nation to another. So if one plans to go to some other nation or other country for now, going to another nation is has also so many reasons attached to it, like some people go um, for their business, for their agreement. Some go for some travel for having getting further better education or education of their choice. Then few people travel for the sightseeing, for the vacation. Few people go for sometimes shopping as well. So there are so many reasons why these people go travel from one country. Yeah, so tourism for, so we can see that people travel to other countries for different reasons. Now why this has become so very frequent or so very common or so very, uh, done on a very can say very short intervals or done quite frequently. So this is because the traveling has also become very convenient. There are so many modes to transfer or transport or communicate, or just go from one country to another. Earlier this mode of transportation was also very limited. So with time there has been quite development in all the three types of transport, like the waterways have also been better than earlier, the roadways as well, and then there are railways also, which have developed uh, quite a lot, so that there are they have tried to connect the countries. Also we have a very good aviation development. Aviation in the sense, the air travel has also become quite convenient, quite cheaper also, you can say. So there are so much of improvements in the types of transportation as well. So many reasons contribute for the increase in the international tourism. Now it has become easier to travel because of the easy availability of a number of options of railway. So earlier there were limited railways, but now we have a lot of railways, trains available to go from one place to another. So it has become, traveling has become really easy. Marine and air transport also have improved a lot. The frequency and the capacity both have increased. Also the quality has increased, and the time taken has also reduced. So there are so many factors that all these three types of transportation, 3 to 4 types of transportation, has increased extensively, improved extensively, and so the traveling has become quite easier. Marine transport has linked the coastal regions. Now since it is traveling through water, or so waterways, so all the coastal regions are very well connected, and that is how the marine transportation has improved. Then there is a trans-European railway route. So there has been development in the railways as well, wherein trans-European railway route has developed, and which has facilitated the transport or transfer from one place to another, one nation, one country to another, quite convenient. Aviation has brought the entire world closer. Even the air route or the aviation airways have connected, very well connected, and therefore it has been very much successful to connect to the countries, different countries, and that's how the world has become quite closer in the sense that the traveling from one country to another has become very easy and very much possible within the reach of quite many of the people. Because of the economic liberalization policy of the Indian government, the number of people traveling back and forth from India has increased considerably. Now, even our government has taken a lot of initiatives. So there is, so the policies of the government has um, made it still more convenient and still more possible for the people to travel from India to the other countries and from the other countries to India as well. So the policies of the government also play a very important role. If the policies of any government or any country is very stringy, it's very complicated, it's very time consuming, or you can say if they are very complicated and very much demanding, then it becomes very difficult, or those countries are not very much frequented. So the government policies also do play a very important role in the tourism process. They they include people traveling for studies, relaxation, sightseeing, and professional assignments like meeting and agreements, etc. Also for shooting of films, etc. So these are the reasons why people. Few of the reasons why people travel. People travel to study to some other country. So sometimes people do travel to other countries because they have better education opportunities there, or better courses available in some other country, and therefore they travel from one country to another to get the course or to get the uh, education of their choice. Then people also do travel for relaxation. Relaxation is like when you are very tired of your routine and you need a break, go on vacations for to some other country also. And now these things are not really necessities like traveling for relaxation or sightseeing, but these have become quite frequent because the policies of the government, the mode of transportation, and the convenience in the language, and also the can say the ease in getting the money transferred, converted rather. So all these things, if they are easily available, people travel for not so important reasons also. So relaxation is when people get very monotonous and they get bored for out of their routine, and they wish to go to some other country for just to relax for few days. Then also sightseeing. Now sometimes we see that few countries have a very beautiful sight, they have a very beautiful nature. They also have beautiful artificially created places like gardens and botanical gardens, and some scientific places as well. So there are so many reasons why people go for sightseeing. Sightseeing generally is used for this, or generally relates to the natural or historical monuments, you can say, wherein something very old is constructed and is worth watching, like the forts in India, or the museums. Also, sightseeing is basically for the scenic nature, or the beauty of the nature, and nearness to the beauty of nature. So because we all know that in our fast life nowadays we really don't have so much time to admire the nature. So when we have time, or when we take a break for sightseeing, we do go to few places so that we can really relax, we can go near the nature, we can have time for the nature as well as for ourselves, and of course for the family. So that is one of the reasons for traveling. Also people travel for professional assignments. Now there are so many joint ventures, you can say, or people merge their businesses with the foreigners. They either import things, or they have their clients in some other country, so they have business meetings, they have business agreements, and for these reasons also they travel from one country to another. Then there is also for shooting of films. Now we can see that so many films, they are they are being shooted in some other country, they are shot at some other countries. So the locations, for the beautiful locations, for the need of the, can say, requirement of the story script, or to have those special effects and all, so they go to other countries for shooting their films. So these are few of the reasons why people travel from one country to another. Now, for this, one needs to produce various official documents for traveling abroad. Now, there are so many official documents which are needed to be produced if there is an international tourism or international travel. For example, you need to have your passports, you have to have the visas. Now few countries are very stringent and their policies are about giving the visas is very strict, so you have to follow all those procedures, and if you get those visas, then you can definitely travel to those other countries. There are few more other formalities which are to be done, so depends upon the nature why you're visiting the country. If it is for work purpose or for education, there are different exams which are to be cleared, which need to be cleared. So depending upon if it's only for tourism or if it is only for few days sightseeing or relaxation or shooting of the film, then there are different documentations which are needed. So depending upon the reason why you're traveling to that country or which country you're traveling to, there are different procedures, paperwork and documentation which has to be produced beforehand if you plan to travel abroad. So when we have discussed all this much of international tourism, we can definitely make out that international tourism definitely needs a planning well in advance so that all the documentation and procedures can be completed beforehand. Now the next topic we come on to is historical tourism. As the title indicates, historical tourism is the tourism or traveling for the historical reasons or for seeing the historical places. So this type of tourism is popular all over the world. Tours to historical places are arranged to satisfy people's interest in history. It can be noted in this context that Gopal Nilkantha Dandekar, a renowned Marathi writer, used to arrange hiking tours to forts in Maharashtra to explore the sites closely linked to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his achievements. Tours are also arranged to important historical sites in India such as forts in Rajasthan, ashrams of Mahatma Gandhi and Acharya Vinoba Bhave, important places related to the Indian War of Independence 1987, etc. So we can see historical tourism of course relates to the tourism related to the historical places or the places of historical importance. Now there has been a notable contribution by Gopal Nilkantha Dandekar, and why his contribution is very noted because he was a renowned Marathi writer and he used to arrange the hiking tours to forts in Maharashtra to explore the sites closely linked to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So he was a writer basically, but then he used to arrange this hiking or trekking sort of camps for the people to the forts in Maharashtra so that people can more closely associate with the forts and can be linked to the contribution of Shivaji Maharaj. His valor, his greatness can be expressed or can be communicated to the next generation. So this also can be seen as the transfer of information from oral transfer of information from one generation to another. And as you all know children, that when we see something rather than only hearing, only listening, when we see and we listen, so when these forts were shown and simultaneously when the history or the valor of Shivaji Maharaj was told to these people, it was very more effective and it was very well retained by the people. They could relate or they could remember it quite longer, and it became very easy to understand because when we see the place and when we hear about the incidents, it is our natural human tendency that um, we can just like you can have the images in your mind, like what must have happened, how it must have happened. So that helps in lasting a longer effect on our minds and making the concepts more clearer. So therefore his contribution uh, is very notable, or is of great importance. Now then, similarly, tours are also arranged to important historical sites in India, such as forts in Rajasthan, ashrams of Mahatma Gandhi ji and Acharya Vinoba Bhave. So when the tours are organized for some ashrams and all, we can see the work done by them, their great contribution towards the people, towards their country, which can be definitely very motivating and very inspiring. So that we also feel that. When these people have done so much for their countrymen without any self interest, so there is a wide scope for us to do at least something out of it for the people or for even our own development. So it is very inspiring. So, and the other thing which is important is the forts of Rajasthan. So there are so many forts in Rajasthan which are really very beautiful, you can say. They're so very vast, and they, if you happen to visit these forts, you can definitely have so many questions in your mind. So it also helps to contribute to increase your interest or develop your interest in history about our own nation, or about related to those places, such places. Also in these forts, now they have some shows. Sometimes you have light shows, sometimes you have laser shows, and in those shows they also tell us about the history, or about the story, sort of in the form of a story. They do reveal the history or some part of history related to that fort. So it becomes really very educative as well. Then there are also visits to some important places related to the Indian War of Independence of 1857. So this is the way the historical tourism is developed. Now those people who are interested in finding out more details about our history, about our great leaders, about their contribution, about how they worked, or how they uh, had the battles, and more about the battles and all those stuff. So these people definitely like to go visit to such places. And this type of visits, or this type of tourism which is related to history, is called as historical tourism. So now here we can see that these are the few places of historical importance. You can see forts, you can see the monuments. So these type of places, when you visit for as tourism, uh, it is called as historical tourism. Now this historical tourism can be within the country, or within, can be outside the country, or to some other country as well. Now the next is geographic tourism. This type of tourism, now this type of tourism involves visiting places to observe special geographical features of a region. It includes various natural and animal sanctuaries, places like valleys of flowers, example is Uttarakhand, then various beaches, unique geographical wonders like the crater lake or at Lonar, and and Ranjan Khale, naturally carved out cavities in rocks at Ni- Nigoj in Maharashtra. Many tourists like to visit these places to satisfy their curiosity. Now, the way people are interested in history, people are also interested in geography. So, there are people who travel to other countries for its other places rather for their geographical importance. Now, these include places wherein you have hot water springs, then you also have um, naturally carved out cavities in rocks. So this can be sometimes due to the continuous banging of water on few rocks, so they get the shape. So it can be so many different things as well, like there is a valley of flowers, then there are animal sanctuaries, then there are it includes so many places where they have natural uh, can say natural resources or very then we have few lakes, then we have some some other places of historical importance as well. And because of that is geographical importance, because of some types of rocks, sometimes some different types of plants and trees, or some different types of climate. So all these things, because of so many geographical reasons also, people travel to these places which have geographical importance or which are geographically very important, peculiar types of stones or animal sanctuaries, then so many other reasons which are related to geography. So here's a type, you can say, see that here the lake is shown, which has a very different stones. So for such reasons people do travel, that is called as geographical tourism. Then the next is the health tourism. So people from the western countries find the health services and facilities in India comparatively cheaper and yet of good standard. Hence, many foreigners prefer to come to India to avail of the medical facilities and health services. India is a tropical country where ample sunlight is available throughout the year. This attracts the tourists from countries with cold climate to India. Availability of facilities for yoga training and therapies based on Ayurveda is one more reason to want to visit. Now, as you all know, that the Ayurveda treatment from India, more popularly from the south part of India, Kerala Lake. So there the uh, Ayurvedic treatment or Ayurveda treatment facilities are very very well developed and very um, can say very old types of techniques are used, and which are comparatively very cheap, and because they use all natural products or natural all products are extracts from the nature. So it is very effective and it has no side effects, and they are very cheaper also. So it is effective, it is cheaper, and their standards are of good quality or good standard. So it is very popular. Also, India being a tropical country, it has sunlight throughout the year, so we have, which again becomes a very good source for as far as health point of view is concerned. Also we have so much of um, can say, since very old tradition of yoga. So practicing yoga is also very healthy, and therefore people travel for learning these techniques and for getting treatments. So we can see that similarly there are some advanced techniques or very developed scientific methods for terminal diseases. For that people travel to other countries. So that these are the medical reasons why people travel to other countries. So we can see that so many people from the western countries, they feel that the facilities in India are of comparatively cheaper, and they are of good standards, good quality, and therefore many foreigners prefer to come to India to avail the medical facilities and health services. Um so these people from cold regions wherein there is cold throughout the year, snow covered areas or something, so they find they travel to India for treatments and also for getting the sunlight. So they do travel to India for these reasons. Now then, there are so that this is how the tourists are attracted from cold countries or the countries with cold climate to India. Also the availability of facilities of yoga. Now we have yoga centers, yoga training centers, so they do cure few of the diseases or many diseases rather through only yoga practice. So people travel here for yogas. Then they also have therapies based on Ayurveda, and then there is also naturopathy, wherein only the nature or the soil and sunlight and water are used for giving therapies. So naturotherapy is also there, which is quite popular in India and is really of great good quality. So people do come to India for all these health facilities as well. So here in the picture you can see that this, yeah, if you can see, this is this relates to the Ayurvedic, you can say these are the Ayurvedic medicines which are used as a part of treatment, like turmeric, then spices which are used as um, to cure Ayurvedic treat to give Ayurvedic treatments. This is a type of you can say the massage or the again an Ayurvedic treatment, or rather a massage, oil massage treatments from more popularly from Kerala, the very old style of ancient style of giving treatments. Also we can see these are the things which are used to give the yoga treatments. So this is how the yoga treatments or the Ayurvedic treatments are given to people. Also we can see this is the yoga being performed at the sunrise near the sea beach, which gives you the goodness of yoga, practicing yoga, as well as the goodness of nature and the natural sources or the sources from the nature, like morning sunlight and water and nature. So you can have the benefits of the nature and the techniques of yoga, so which is very effective on the body. That is all. We will stop here. We will continue in the next lecture from agrotourism. So these are the types of tourism we are discussing. So thank you so much for watching this, and I hope it has been useful to you all for understanding um, tourism and history, how tourism, or what are the reasons for tourism and how it is um, and for what reasons do people travel, and how it has been how it has become easier because of the um, initiative of the government and better facilities of transportation. So thank you so much.